one of the areas of constant growth and practice for me is basically understanding relationships. From the very beginning, the very first relationship being with my parents. And all of us, that's our experience. Whether your parents are physically your biological parents, or parents who have adopted you, or your parents are in the form of a guardian, a sibling, an older brother or sister, or even if you were born and grew up in an orphanage, your parents, your parental figure, are the ones who raised you, so you're your guardians. For me, it was understanding the relationship that I had, obviously, with my mother, who I was very close with, and eventually I found out that I had an adopted father, and my biological father I never knew. So ultimately understanding those relationships, those are the models. Those are our first examples of beginning to understand how we interact and what's the right and proper way based on either the culture or the family dynamics, and everything is passed on and passed on. So mine has always been about understanding my relationships with the individuals in my life, and understanding them more deeply, and not just understanding in terms of how I fit into the relationship or how I didn't, which was often the case when I was growing up, but it was also about understanding what motivates others to do what they do, what motivated my mother to raise me the way she did. And it wasn't until I was about 15 years old that I found out the story that I learned about my biological father. And it was in that moment that I understood not all, but most of what drove my mother to teach me what she taught me. And it also helped me understand why she acted in ways that I thought were uncharacteristic of a woman, a loving mother that I knew. For example, when she would get really, really angry with me, especially when I was in my adolescent years, when I was about 8, 9, 10, I was pretty hard-headed and headstrong then, if that is believable. And I remember there was a very specific time when my mother lashed out in a way that was just completely uncharacteristic, I thought, even at the age of, I want to say I was about 8 or 9 years old. And it wasn't until 5 or 6 years later that I understood why. And I actually even brought that up in the conversation when I was about 15 or 16 years old. And I asked my mother, I said, I don't know if you remember this, but there was this time and you had this look in your eyes, and she remembered it as well. Probably not as poignantly as I did. It affected me for a very long time, because it brought up so great many questions. And she said, yeah, she goes, I was going through a hard time, and I think I had a rough day. And she said, and something that you said or something that you did reminded me so much of your biological father. And she was still holding on to great heartache and pain and anger about him. And so in a moment of fury, in a moment of relative unconsciousness, she took that out on me. And for me, it was one of those poignant moments that I understood. It was when I said, I get it. Or at least I get a part of what drives people to do certain things. And certainly it is the way we experience our relationships with others, and whether or not we've resolved or we've unresolved lingering bits of anger or remorse or regret, and essentially pain and heartache. And we as human beings are so good at burying pain and heartache. And so as I was working through the stuff in my teenage years, and I was working through a lot. It's taken me, 20 years plus to really get down to the nitty-gritty. But I started early, and there was a lot of stuff. But I had the deeper question as to why people do what they do. And are we capable of change? And obviously the answer to that is a resolute and absolute yes. But there has to be a willingness first. There has to be a willingness to decide that a person has to look into the mirror of their life and go, I'm not happy with that. I really prefer to have something more, to change that from what is, from what either I've been taught or whatever I've chosen or fallen into believing into something else. So whether it's about your weight or whether it's about your relationships or about what type of work you're doing in the world, how you're providing for yourself and or your family, or if it's just about how you handle your life in general, the willingness to change, and then not even trying, deciding that I'm going to go to Congress, I'm going to uncover why I do the things that I do anyways, and then start working that point into what you can do with prayer. And so most importantly, it is about the relationship with ourselves that teaches us so poignantly and so fervently about the relationships that we have with other people. And that's been an extreme joy for me, because then I can look at other relationships with other people, relationships that they have with each other, and see myself so much within those processes. And I find a great deal of grace and gratitude in being able to see bits of myself in the relationships that others have with themselves and with others. I guess it's why I've been called to do the type of work that I'm currently doing, which is life coaching and conscious awareness work and getting people more connected with their inner truths and their higher selves, because that's been my journey. And I can look at the people who have come through an aha moment, or maybe they haven't had it yet, but they're so close, they're on the verge, they're right there knocking at the door. In fact, the door is open, and all they have to do is step through and walk in. And yet, that requires a greater willingness and understanding to go, once I pass over this threshold, there will be new things that I will be able to see, and I must be willing to look at them with clear and open eyes. So I continue to do this work, and I know that many of you are also on the path of understanding your relationships, and most importantly, the one that you have with yourself. And I offer to you that all things are possible, that whatever it is that you're looking to heal on a physical, mental, or emotional level, there's great reward in the work that you're doing. And there's a large community of people here for you. So give me a shout if I can be of help to you. Shoot me an email or send me a video. Ask me your questions. You can contact me through a link at www.on-common-ground.com. On there's a link to our Facebook website. You can also shoot me a post there and introduce stuff to other people. And I love you guys very much. I'm excited about the work that I'm doing, and much more to come. Come back and visit again soon. We'll see you. I love you. CBD from the World Peace Cafe in Atlanta, Georgia. Come check it out too. Great food here and a great atmosphere. Love you, and we'll chat with you again soon. Ciao for now.